Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about Linka. Now, if you're watching this, I would imagine you probably already know what Linka is. But for anybody who doesn't, who's interested, Linka is a model building system where you can use rubber molds and special powder to create cast stone sections or brick sections or various window sections, whatever, and then assemble them to make model buildings. Now, this video is predominantly not about making the mouldings, because there's plenty of stuff about already covers that. It's about making coloured mouldings, which is something I do, but I've not seen anybody else do it, so I thought it might be worth making a video to suggest to others that, you know, what, there is a different way than just using white castings. For a start, Linka was produced in the early 1980s. It was treated as a toy, really, by the company that made it, which is Thomas Salter, and they never really promoted it anything more than a toy, and it was a bit of a flop at the time. As you can see from this illustration, they did sell various kits. Again, it was all aimed at children, not adults and not modelers. It's quite a good little system if you've got the time to do it. It's quite fun to make. It did flop, and they sold it off, and eventually the company went bankrupt. But somebody else took it up, and today you can still get new moulds and various things, and the special powder you need to do it with. And there is a very interesting website that covers all the details of Linka, including the history, and there's also a forum, and the chap who runs it will also supply you with the equipment if you need, so I will put a link to that underneath this video for you. Basically, you can also buy some of the parts on eBay. People sell the sets, as I showed you in this leaflet here. These are the sets, and they are often for sale on eBay. But be careful when you're buying them, because they often come with a powder which is quite heavy. Excuse me. It's quite heavy, and it makes the postage expensive. It's totally useless. Here's a packet of the powder for you to see now. It was alright at the time, but because it's quite old now, Linka haven't made that powder for probably getting on for 30 years, and any powder that's still about is virtually useless. I've got quite a few boxes of it. I bought some kits at the time when they were selling them off, and it just won't set. You can't do anything with it. I've tried all various things, adding PVA and God knows what, and none of it works. So basically just throw it away. If somebody's trying to sell it, you're best to suggest to them that they lower the postage cost and throw that in the bin, because it's completely and utterly useless. I'm just going to show some of the moulds. These are the moulds as you get them. I'll take the camera in a bit, so I hope this is in focus. It's a bit awkward trying to do it and talk at the same time. These are some of the sample of some of the moulds, and then I'll take those off. There's a little Linka manual that was done specially for it. Again, you might find these on eBay. I don't think they're in print now. And underneath that junk, there's some of the castings, the white castings. Now, this is the proper way of doing it. You make white castings, you assemble them, and then you paint them. The problem is that they always look painted. Not only that, if they get knocked or the paint comes off, it shows the white through, and it looks a bit unsightly, I think. So I've devised a way of colouring them, and this is what this video is about. I've got a sample under here. These are some of my coloured stones. As you can see, there's brick ones and stone ones. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see the detail on them, hopefully. I'll move the camera down a bit. Now the point is that it's experimental, and it's difficult to get them exacting, but the point is that no matter how they turn out, if they're no good, you haven't lost anything, because you can still use them and paint them anyway, and you can paint over the top of them. It's just that they don't chip like the other ones. You can get some interesting effects, like the brick ones. There's a plain brick one. But most bricks have got different shades and things, so there's one with the shading in. You can get different colours by different mixes. I mean, it's always difficult to gauge it, because you might find if you mix one it'll be too thin or it'll be too thick, and you'll get the wrong colour in. But it doesn't really matter, just do different ones, and you can always add to it by a bit of paint afterwards anyway. And I'll just show now some of the things that you can do. Take those off. These are some of the tunnel entrances I've made. This is all made using Linka, and other than, you know, most people use cardboard and things, these are made of real stone, if you like, well, stone powder. And you can see you can get some quite interesting effects with it. Just by, they're just glued onto wood. You use just a bit of wood as the backing. I cut a wood shape out and then put the stonework on top. If you look at those are just some Linka moulds that I cut up and then just rough the edges to make them look like stone walls. So that basically that's what you can do with it. I say I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because there's plenty of information about making moulding bricks and moulding bricks. So I'm going to concentrate more on how to colour them. So we'll go to that next.